All over this big blue world of ours, there are cases of abandoned ships that cannot be explained. The seas cover most of our planet, and so much of them are still to be explored. With modern technology, the waters are much safer than they once were, but they are still a dangerous place at times for even the most experienced crew member. The mysterious waters of our world have led a fair few to their death, but even more eerie are the boats left behind. So here is our list of 10 mysterious cases of abandoned ships that can't be explained. Before we begin though, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. And with that being said, let's begin. Number 10. Abandoned Cruise Ship, MS Lord Selkirk II. We begin our list of the 10 most mysterious cases of abandoned ships that can't be explained with the abandoned cruise ship MS Lord Selkirk II. The MS Lord Selkirk II was at one time a beautiful and regal vessel and had gone from holding the prestigious honor of being one of the largest cruise ships ever built between the Great Lakes and the Rocky Mountains to now being called an eyesore and a hazard to public health and safety. The final dismantling of the MS Lord Selkirk took place just days before Christmas in 2015. The ship was first launched in June of 1969 and was once considered a getaway on the water. It would carry passengers up and down the Red River on overnight holidays. By 1990, the aging ship was no longer deemed financially viable and it was taken out of commission. A fire eventually tore through the remains of this once proud passenger ship before it was finally dismantled at a cost of over $400,000. The last company to own and try to revitalize the MS Lord Selkirk II eventually went bankrupt and the ship just sat there until the fire and its eventual dismantling. Number 9. Abandoned ocean liner SS Independence. Now first seen on the oceans of the world back in the year 1951, the SS Independence was at one point the chosen route for Hollywood stars to navigate the seas. The favored ocean liner for actors, directors, and even presidents all walked the deck of this once luxurious ship. The future of the ship, however, was not as opulent as its past. The SS Independence was transferred back to the flag that built it, where it was renamed the Monrovia at the end of the 1970s. By the year 1996, the cost attached to operating the boat became too high and the decision was made to take the ship out of service. The at one time beautiful ocean-going liner would be retired on a dock in San Francisco. She would then be sold and then resold on her way to be scrapped as the owner went bankrupt. There was still controversy in the ship's future though when in 2009 the Indian government refused entry for the boat to be scrapped as it was still reportedly filled with hazardous material and nobody wanted it sitting on their coastline. Eventually though, the liner was just beached just off Alang in India and then broken up. Number 8. The SS United States Philadelphia. Number 8 on our list takes us to the USA where we find the SS United States. This is a ship with somewhat of a double life. The sister to the wrecked SS America was built in her time as a state-of-the-art luxury ocean liner. Fitted with the latest in everything, this ship also hid a secret or two as well. She was also kitted out with the whole range of the most advanced top-secret equipment. The reason that this equipment was installed and why she was partially funded by the US government is in case the ship was ever needed for use as a troop transport. After World War II and with the growing threat of the Soviet Union breathing down their necks, nobody was taking any chances. Even though the troops were never transported using this boat, it still managed to make nearly 1,000 trips across the Atlantic. At one point, the SS United States set the world record for the fastest transatlantic crossing, taking just 3 days, 10 hours, and 42 minutes. No ship has ever broken that record. This was fast as far as crossing by sea, but as air travel became more and more popular, sea travel became far less so. Once this boat carried 1,000 people at a time in both speed and luxury, but having been retired in 1969, she now floats rusting while the granddaughter of the architect who built her tries desperately to save this dying ship. Number 7. Abandoned Hovercraft. There are only a few instances where the mysterious cases of abandoned ships include part of a country's naval fleet. Military vehicles must be amongst the most readily tracked and easily located vehicles on our planet. However, it does still happen, and one such case is the mysterious case of the abandoned hovercraft at this US Navy base. Hovercrafts were once considered to be retro but futuristic and very expensive forms of fun. Some of the world's governments, though, decided to put some money into the idea and produce some spectacular designs. At the former base at Green Cove Springs, which was abandoned in the 1960s, there is an Atlas hovercraft just sitting there looking like something from a science fiction film. It was once supposed to be sold off to be used as part of a dinner cruise program in Chicago, but that idea failed. In the year it was built, 2006, the hovercraft was meant to be starting a revolution in travel. It would be the way that most commuters traveled along and across North America's rivers and lakes. That, of course, never happened, and so this shell of a futuristic vehicle sits basking in the Florida sunshine, having never once taken a passenger on board. Number 6. The abandoned cruise ship TSS Duke of Lancaster. The case of the TSS Duke of Lancaster is a most mysterious one. This ship had a strange life. During the 1950s and 1960s, the TSS Duke of Lancaster would be operated as both a passenger ferry and a cruise ship. Now, this ship had the decor and restaurant service that was able to compete with the very best in the world. From day to day, the boat would be used as a ferry to take passengers short distances, but then every so often the boat would be taken on long cruises where it would sail around the ocean from Scandinavia to the Mediterranean. Now, those were the good old days for this once spectacular ocean-going ferry, as in late 1979, the cruise ship was docked in Wales, UK. The owner had the intention of turning it into a ship where people could come and be entertained and enjoy themselves. But due to all the red tape and fire codes and various other things that the boat could either not pass or not get, none of these plans ever came to be a reality. Since its demise, however, the rusting body of this huge ship has now been turned into a canvas where it holds the work of some of the country's greatest graffiti artists. Number 5. Abandoned Ferries, Staten Island. In Staten Island, there is an old overrun graveyard filled with tombstones that have had the names weathered away by time and the elements. Just a short walk from that old land of the dead is another not too different from the first, except this graveyard is filled with old ferries. Scores of rusting old passenger ferries have been given this as their final resting place. There is something mysterious about seeing such a large number of the boats that were once an important part of everyday travel in the city. Now, however, they sit and rot with only the memory of once being great cogs and machine that is the city. Where they once helped thousands, if not millions of people get from here to there, now they do nothing but sink into the marshland that is to be their final home. Number 4. Abandoned cruise ship MS World Discoverer, Solomon Islands. Constructed in the year 1974, the MS World Discoverer was built by the Germans, and they built her well. This was a boat that had something most other boats at the time did not have. This ship had a double hull. With a hull that was twice the thickness and built to withstand great impact, this boat was designed and built to go places that other boats of the time could not. This ship was built to travel the icy waters of the Arctic Peninsula. For years, this vessel transported scientists and researchers through the Northwest Passage, where they would study the ice flows and other natural phenomena. When attempting to navigate the Solomon Islands, the ship hit a rock and found herself beached. The ship has since been looted to a high degree, and it has ironically become a top attraction for other tour ships that are operated in the area. Number 3. V-Class Abandoned Ferry, Queen of Vancouver. In British Columbia, the now out-of-service Queen of Vancouver was one of just a small number of similar ferries that were all built in the 1960s. They were designed, built, and put into service with one job in mind: to shuttle the people and vehicles around the Salish Sea. These were the V-Class ferries, ships that had problems right from the outset. The original designs and even the structural makeup of these ferries would be toyed with in attempts to overcome these problems. They even cut them in half in order to add another car deck. The 4 ferries that were expanded were put to good use and ferried thousands of people and their vehicles around the area. This ship was not one of those lucky 4, however, and she was retired in 2008, having lost her V-Class classification. The Queen of Vancouver, however, sat on her moorings for a brief period of time and then was swiftly taken to Mexico to be scrapped. Number 2. Lubov Orlova ghost ship. Nobody knows where this next ship is or where it will be at any point. The ship gets its name from the Russian movie star Lubov Orlova, and it is a 1970s era Yugoslavian cruise ship. In the ship's heyday, it was used mainly for cruises in the Antarctic. The boat was refurbished in 1999 and in 2002. But by 2010, the boat had been seized for non-payment of debts. The ship was then impounded in Newfoundland, and this is where the urban legends begin with the ship. The ship was sold in 2012 and was destined to be broken up for scrap. The ship managed to escape from the tugboat that was taking her on this journey though, and all attempts to reconnect the ship failed. Eventually, the ship just drifted away to sea. She was sighted several more times since that day, including sightings off the coast of Ireland that once sparked a news story about a ghost ship carrying a cargo of ravenous cannibal rats sailing towards the British coastline. It is thought that the boat is still at sea. Number 1. Hovercraft Graveyard. With all the ships that go missing and are left abandoned, there are few more mysterious than a pair of abandoned hovercrafts sitting in the middle of an old airfield in India. In and amongst a tangled web of vines and long grasses, there sit the two lumbering giants. The two hovercraft named the Triton 1 and the Triton 2 began life with a bang as they were put into service, making runs from Juhu to Chowpatty Beach. They would at their peak times carry up to 1,000 people a day. These hovercraft that were made in Britain were not loved by the local fishermen though, and in the end the red tape involved halted the operation as the government failed to keep their various promises of landing docks and jetties. The venture only lasted 2 years, and in 1998 they ceased operations and have been sat in this hovercraft graveyard ever since. Attention Daily Top Teners! We have breaking news, a new channel alert. The most entertaining channel on YouTube is finally here, and they are giving away free iPhone 10s. All you have to do is subscribe to come along to win. It's full of super exciting cool facts, riddles, life hacks, and mysteries to keep you entertained. But don't take my word for it. Click on the screen now to see the latest video, or click the round yellow sun looking button and subscribe now. Link is also in the description. See you all there.